In this segment, as you can see, we got the rucksack pretty well loaded. I left some things off just so we can do some demonstration here, but this will give you a general idea. Remember, you want the majority of your weight in this middle area higher up. You don't want it way down on your back. So we'll just kind of go through this. I've got this all adjusted. It's ready. I've got the additional pouches on the back, but we'll go ahead and get into the pack now and show you what's kind of what we got, how we loaded it, and how it's set up. As always, when we're rucking or going on long range patrol or hiking or going out and camping, you can live out of one of these things for a month, no problem. So as we open up and look inside, very first thing, always on the top flat for me, I always put my rain gear. For just a little chill or weather or rain, it's always on top. So my rain gear, this is my top and bottoms, I always have that right on top. Inside there's two different enclosures. One encloses everything, and then one you can actually load this up higher if you need to. If you have more stuff, this thing will go almost this high. One of the tricks that I do is you'll see my barrel locks. A lot of times you can't just leave these like this. This will get snagged on a tree and everything. So all I do is I tie a bow knot. I suck my barrel lock down and I'll just tie a bow knot. And this is something I can always get at night. I always know how to do it. I can just pull it open, let it open, get it out. I do the same thing with the main cinch. Is with this one, I do the same thing and then tie that bow knot. That just keeps all of your extra line out of the way. But this thing, if you see, can actually, and again, I didn't completely load this up. It's probably about 85 pounds right now. But if it was packed to here, this would go to about there, and then this top shelf, you can go almost that high, and it still has room for your flap to come over. So just some of the things and how I load my ruck. I've got ready warm clothing right on top, always. That's the things you need the most, so I'll always keep those on the top. And again, I didn't overpack this. I just want to give everybody an idea of how to pack and what all you would be carrying. Again, always pay attention to symmetry. You want all this weight centralized on the center of your back. You don't want it pulling one side. It just starts out bad and gets worse, especially if you're far out, a couple days hike out. So you want, to distribute the load across all your big muscles evenly. So as you're hiking, you're not always constantly pulling. So some of the things I've got in here, I've got my cook kit, my camp cook kit, my stove. Just set these things aside so we're not loading everything up. I've got my towel. Again, this is a chamois towel. I always have these. You can use it as a shelter. They're just awesome, awesome pieces of kit. Taking this on all my deployments. It flips out very big. It's a full towel. It dries fast. Like I said, you can tie the corners up, use it as a shelter. Really good piece of kit. Also inside, we're going to have our gas for our stove. If we're not doing campfire, if we're staying kind of tactical, we will carry my gas so I can fire my stove. This amount of gas will last me about 2 weeks. And then inside is the number one, water. Water is the key to life. And notice how that is up right in the center, high on my back. And that's where that'll always sit. I've added a couple pouches on the outside just to give you kind of an idea. These pouches can either go on the back or on the sides. Just depends on your preference and what else you're putting on the sides. For this particular one, I put them on the back. This is where I would keep all my food. It's very light. It's all sealed. You don't have to worry about it really pulling your back over. Again, you'll see my bow ties for my barrel locks. All good. Got my food in there, ready to go. And then on this side, I've got my water purification kit, water purification, some more food in here, and that's all on this side. Again, these can also, many times you'll see these on the outside here, on this side, so it's wider. I like to be a little bit more streamlined. I like to keep real small things that I need to get into fast. And that's where we'll talk about these, how you can use these pouches. These pouches on the side, these are things you need to get into fast, but need to keep them separated. This happens to be an IFAC. Again, I've got, my hat, I've got, my Kestrel, my wind meter, everything like that. I've got my candle in case I need light. I've got my E&E kit. You know, we got all these pouches that we can, and all this place where we can add these pouches on. You could add another pouch up here pretty easily. These things can really get big. On the bottom always is, and again, if you notice, you can access this while the pack is loaded. This is for quick stops or just quick night stay. Inside, I have my ground pad and my sleeping bag. Ground pad bivy, there's a blow up. I use a blow up. A lot of people use some other kinds. Blow ups could just collapse a little bit easier than the hard foam ones. You do have to worry about rocks poking them, but for the most part, they work out pretty good. So that's kind of how you would load this up. You always want to just be careful of your weight. Make sure all your straps are contained. Make sure all your emergency items, as we talked about before, are done. You can also add, you know, small pouches to the sides. I mean, you can really get crazy with this thing with the different number of pouches that you can put on it. It's really personal preference. Just always remember when you're loading a rucksack that you want to, you know, load it kind of in the order or the, you know, the need, the use. You don't necessarily need all your water outside of your pack. You don't necessarily need all your warm clothes, your change of socks, your extra pair of boots, whatever you're taking, you know, all the way right at the top. You know, stuff that you will you know, get at rarely, or be in a place where you're totally unloading this thing, kind of at your campsite or your bivy site or wherever you're at. Those items can stay further in the pack and keep the more readily accessible things, the things you would need, inclement weather, cold, first aid, and then food. Keep that closer to the outside of the area. That way you can always get ready and it's always in order as you pack it.